Welcome back, and in this one we have Logan Paul talking about VeVe. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and dive in and dissect what was said in this video. All right, so we know that KyleWillson Anderson has talked about this topic actually already, and so did Non-Fungible Wonderful. They actually covered this video as well. Non-Fungible Wonderful actually dug this up first, and shout out to him and KyleWillson. They had very interesting takes on here, and definitely would agree with both of them. Also, my perspective on this was essentially that they were actually talking about the wider macro NFT space as a whole. They got into a lot of different topics, and Logan Paul and his brother have had controversial topics before outside of VeVe. So they've talked about projects in the past and promoted them, and those projects have not done so well. So in my opinion, they were talking about stuff like that, stuff outside of their control. And True Jordy actually brought up, VeVe. He goes, yeah, the NFT space is kind of crazy right now. Even VeVe, who has Disney and these big licenses, is also not doing so hot right now in this market. So in my opinion, they were just talking about macro sentiment and saying like, hey, even VeVe, a solid company as them, the NFTs are, 1000x right now. Even though like if you got in early, you still would be up significantly still. But with that being said, I believe they're talking about a lot of the NFTs not doing so well right now, because of course, not only is NFTs are in a bear market, but crypto as a whole. And when these NFTs are mostly pegged to the value of crypto, and crypto is being crushed, the NFTs are going to be down as well. So it's just kind of an obvious thing. As Logan mentioned in this video, actually like 5 or 10 minutes before this clip, he was like, True Jordy brought up the NFT topic. He said, what about NFTs? And Logan responded, he's like, don't even talk about that. Like nobody wants to talk about that right now because obviously everything's a bear market. So that's when they start bringing things up. And then, like I mentioned, when True Jordy brought up Ecomi, and then Logan just kind of glossed right over it. He just said, yeah, I'm in VeVe too. And then he got into, talking about the macro again. So that was my take on it, in my opinion. But we'll go ahead and roll this clip.
It takes time. Development takes time.
Yeah.
To make a project that works, like I'm sorry, we don't have your answers today. You're not going to 100x overnight. Everyone wants to get rich quick in crypto. It takes time to build.
Yeah.
It takes time. Originals will be a decade-long project.
Yeah, I did realize that because I got in on something that I think you were in on VeVe.
Yeah.
Ecomi, and same thing. Like that's plummeted.
Doug.
And they've got Disney. They've got.
Doug, I'm not the bad guy here.
Yeah.
There's some actual out there.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to pause it right there. So that's the synopsis of it. He's talking about the Originals, his own NFT project. And he was just talking about True Jordy saying like, hey, even VeVe, they have Disney, that they even are struggling right now in this market. Because as Logan said, it takes 10 years to build. It takes time to build a solid project when he was talking about the Originals. But he just acknowledged that, yeah, I'm in VeVe and Ecomi. And so that confirms that obviously he's in it. We already know that. But it was something I covered last year, as well as other content creators like KyleWillson, that Logan Paul was in VeVe. So even today he's still looking at it. But it is interesting to see where Logan Paul is going in his own career. It's quite interesting. It seems like he's maturing. I know he's had a controversial past and continues to kind of have some controversy every once in a while, but it is interesting to see him develop and create his own NFT projects. This was actually a really cool podcast, kind of a reveal all about Logan Paul and where he's going and his new drink company Prime. Not to get too off topic, but anyways, that was my take from it, is that they were just kind of talking about the macro. In my opinion, he didn't want to talk about VeVe because that to me says he's like sandbagging VeVe. Like as he mentions, if he talks about a project, it'll move big time. And so one of the projects he hasn't really talked about is VeVe. He mentioned it a couple times in podcasts, like very discreetly. And this is another example of very discreetness. He just glosses right over it to talk right about his other project, Originals, which makes sense. They were already talking about it. He was emotionally charged up when talking about this topic, but kind of defending the NFT space as a whole. So it was an interesting response, but in my opinion, as I mentioned before, it's macro. But anyways, it's interesting to hear these two with millions of subscribers talk about VeVe and Ecomi, because we like to think we're in this bubble and it's just like these micro influencers like myself and others, but you know, there really is larger people in the space paying attention to what Ecomi and VeVe is doing. So you know what to do if you like the video, you know what to do if you don't like it. Hit that sub and bell if you want to be notified of more videos like this. This was just a fun piece of content I wanted to do anyways, to kind of react to this one a little bit. If you want to watch the whole podcast, I do recommend it because they do talk about quite a bit, especially when they start talking about NFTs. But yeah, well, I'll see you guys in the next video. And as always, be like an NFT, be authentic, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.